the other side of the aisle, you're seeing it. They're trying to stop this fraudulent spending that we're finding in all areas of the government. He's in the Treasury today. He said he's going to be in the Department of Education, the Department of Defense very soon. We want to make sure that we maximize the American taxpayers' money and that it's used to benefit the United States of America and in particular our interests across the world. And we've all seen the ridiculous hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent unwisely on things across this, not only our country, but the world. And President Trump is going to stop it with the help of Elon Musk and Doge and those other workers.
Yeah. Sir, the president has found an unexpected roadblock. Judges trying to stop him from just using his authority as president to do what the people elected him to do. Just a few minutes ago, Justin News just moved this news alert. The Trump administration has appealed those judges' rulings, blocking them from trying to do their Doge review to an appellate court. But the idea that judges would get in the way of doing something as common sense as protecting the American taxpayer, it has some people scratching their head.
Well, I think, John, it has the American people scratching their head. Yeah. We want an effective, efficient government to save the waste, fraud, and abuse in the heirs, and we have an activist judge that wants to stop it. I mean, give us a break. We're $36 trillion in debt. Again, President Trump ran on reducing the debt and deficit, ran on streamlining government, ensured the American people that he was going to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, and look into this and stop it. And that's exactly what he's doing. And then you have my colleagues on the left that they always try to weaponize the court, and they're using the courts to stop this. One of your colleagues, Scott Jennings on CNN, said this is an 80-20 issue for the American people. Sure, and the Democrats, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, are sitting on the 20%. They're defending the wasteful spending by this government, and it's just unconscionable. We have to stop it. And I'm very, very happy that we're finding these things, because otherwise we'd have never seen this. Had Elon Musk and Doge never been implemented, we wouldn't have seen, for example, the $59 million that was just sent to the state of New York to house illegals. We would have never seen the Biden administration going in the reserves for Social Security and Medicare to pay for illegal immigrants, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, it does.
Sir, something as common sense as getting rid of waste, saving the American taxpayer money, those are things that I think Americans across the board, doesn't matter if they've got a D next to their name or an R next to their name, but when you listen to your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they throw around terms like corruption and tyranny. How do they reroute their messaging so that it's more in line with what everyone thinks, which is the government shouldn't be wasting money?
Well, I think that, again, 90% of American people agree with what's happening. I think there was just a report stating 70% of the people were happy with President Trump and what he's done thus far in his term by making good on the promises that he made to the American people. We know, we always talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, and all of a sudden the Democrats are putting the brakes on it when we're finding all these unnecessary payments and oftentimes grifting into their own pockets or their friends' or relatives' pockets. It's unacceptable. I know that President Trump and the American people and the Republicans in the House and Senate are not going to put up with this any longer. We cannot allow the waste, fraud, and abuse to continue. And it's not going to be under our watch. Absolutely not. We are going to stop it. The American people are going to know where their money is spent and invested, and it's going to be very transparent. Like in the Treasury, they want codes for why was it, who paid it, why was it paid, what was the reason for, and then the do not pay list. Those seems to be real simple things we can incorporate, not just blank checks without reasoning why we're sending the American taxpayer money to Burma or other countries, Iraq, for a Sesame Street show for $120 million. Are you kidding me? We have veterans on the streets of our country that don't have housing. I mean, we can do better than that, and we're going to continue to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse. And Elon Musk and his Doge committee are going to do that, and you're going to see more of it. We're going to see more in the Department of Education and the Department of Defense. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars in a short period of time that Doge has been up, that they've identified wasteful spending by the United States government.
It's extraordinary, and I bet it gets deeper and deeper as we dig further in. So another thing President Trump's doing, protecting American industries. Just a few moments ago, he signed tariffs, expanding the tariff protections for all steel and aluminum across all countries. Important for some of our manufacturers in this side of the country, isn't it?
Well, the Northeast Minnesota, the 8th Congressional District where I represent, we mine the iron ore that makes over 80% of the United States steel in our nation. So mining, as I've said, it's our past, our present, our future. And President Trump put this 232 steel tariffs on his first term because he knew that the Chinese Communist Party and other adversarial nations were going to attempt to dump their cheap, dirty Chinese steel onto the American market and put out of business the Iron Range in northeastern Minnesota. We were not going to allow that to happen. In fact, it was so successful that the Biden administration kept that on. And, when we talk about what President Trump campaigned on, he campaigned on permitting reform, NEPA reforms, so we can mine, process, and manufacture those ores right here in America. And, that's what he's pushing, and that's what I'm pushing on the Natural Resources Committee. We have to make sure that those critical minerals and those ores that we mine, we do it soundly with the best environmental and labor standards in the world, and really appreciate and understand we are so blessed to have these natural resources underneath our feet, and nobody does it better, nobody extracts it better than the United States of America. Whether we're talking about oil or gas, or critical minerals or iron ore, etc., we do it better than anybody. And mining in northeastern Minnesota, we're very proud of it. We've been doing it for over 140 years, and we're going to continue to do it for another 140 plus years and longer.
Yeah, I was behind a car today and it said "Making Metal Great Again," and I knew exactly what they're talking about. It was a union worker, had a union sticker on the side, so it was pretty funny. Congressman, great to have you on the show as always. We always get a healthy dose of common sense when you join us. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Yeah, you too, sir. Thanks so much. What a great interview. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, a real cabinet office is going to be here. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is going to join us right after these messages. Hey, America, are you looking for a voice that really represents your values? AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, was created to champion the needs of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom, like you and I do. With over 2 million members, their mission is simple but powerful: to protect the interests of all freedom-loving Americans, safeguarding Social Security and Medicare, and advocating for common sense policies. Members gain access to incredible member benefits, including the award-winning AMAC magazine, from exclusive discounts on travel insurance and everyday services to a strong voice in Washington. AMAC is here to make a difference in your life and our nation. Joining AMAC isn't just about benefits, regardless of your age. It's about belonging to a community that stands for timeless American values. In honor of President Trump's first 100 days in office, AMAC is offering an incredible deal. Enroll in a 5-year AMAC membership like I do for 47% off. Normally $60. Join today for only $32. Visit amac.us/justnews today to take advantage of this special offer. That's amac.us/justnews. Join AMAC and become part of a movement that stands for your family and your future.
Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you're losing benefits for any reason or new to Medicare, you can call now because you may be eligible for plans in your zip code with additional benefits or cost savings you may not be receiving now or that may have previously not been available to you. Different Part C plans are available in different parts of the country, so don't wait. Call the number on your screen now. You should call now even if you've called before. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits and potential cost savings. Call to speak with a licensed insurance agent and find out if you are eligible for a special enrollment period. You don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically, so call now for your free 2025 no-obligation Medicare benefits review.
Just call 800-912-5254. 800-912-5254.
Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you're losing benefits for any reason or new to Medicare, you can call now because you may be eligible for plans in your zip code with additional benefits or cost savings you may not be receiving now or that may have previously not been available to you. Different Part C plans are available in different parts of the country, so don't wait. Call the number on your screen now. You should call now even if you've called before. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits and potential cost savings. Call to speak with a licensed insurance agent and find out if you are eligible for a special enrollment period. You don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically, so call now for your free 2025 no-obligation Medicare benefits review.
Just call 800-912-5254. 800-912-5254.
Business competitiveness abroad. We are essentially ordering the Department of Justice to use its prosecutorial discretion in a way to ameliorate the negative effects of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, to allow Americans to do business abroad, and to allow our foreign partners to do business with Americans without fearing unjust prosecution.
And for those of you that know this, it turned out to be, it sounds good on paper, but in practicality, it's a disaster. It means that if an American goes over to a foreign country and starts doing business over there legally, legitimately, or otherwise, it's almost a guaranteed investigation, indictment, and nobody wants to do business with the Americans because of it. Nobody wants to do business. They say, look, we can deal with China. They can do whatever they want. We can deal with Russia. We can deal with anybody. And we have a normal life. You deal with America, the FBI gets over there. They don't investigate death and murders on the street in New York and Los Angeles. They go over and investigate a business guy trying to do business. So it made it very, very hard from a practical standpoint to make deals. They want to deal with the Americans, but they don't want to be under investigation every time they speak to an American, every time an American makes a phone call to somebody in a different country. It's a disaster for this country. And I guess it was a Jimmy Carter concept, and it sounds so good, but it's so bad. It hurts the country, and many, many deals are unable to be made because of it. Nobody wants to do business because they don't want to feel like every time they pick up a phone, they're going to jail. So we'll sign this, and it takes courage to sign it because you only get bad publicity when you sign it. It sounds so nice. The title is so lovely, but it's an absolutely horror show for America. So we're signing it because that's what we have to do to make it good. Okay, thank you. It's an important one. It's going to mean a lot more business for America. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, this is an executive order relating to the use of paper straws. As you've consistently identified, nobody really likes paper straws.
Number one trending. Can you believe it? A paper straw was number one trending for 3 days or something.
The environmental impact of plastic straws versus paper straws is entirely unclear. This has cost both the government and private industry an absolute ton of money and left consumers all over the country wildly dissatisfied with their straws. So we're asking aspects of the federal government, federal departments and agencies to look at their existing procurement processes, and we're asking your Domestic Policy Council to look holistically at this issue to address it, and it really is something that affects ordinary Americans in their everyday lives.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark. It's very much as they're munching their way through the ocean. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a full and unconditional pardon for former Governor Rod Blagojevich of the state of Illinois.
Good. It's my honor to do it. I've watched him. He was set up by a lot of bad people, some of the same people that I had to deal with. He wasn't quite as successful, but he had somebody that saw what was going on. I didn't know him other than I believe he was on The Apprentice for a little while. He was just a very nice person. He had a fantastic wife. She fought like hell to get him out. He was given a sentence of like 18 years. And there was a sort of a terrible injustice. They just were after him. They go after a lot of people. These are bad people on the other side. So I think he's just a very fine person. And this shouldn't have happened, and it shouldn't have happened to him. And let him have a normal life and let him go out and do what he has to do. So I'm signing this as a full pardon. Rod Blagojevich.
Mr. President, are you considering him for ambassador to Serbia?
No, but I would. I mean, he's now cleaner than anybody in this room. He got a pardon. He's cleaner than anybody in the room. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, in 2018, you imposed ad valorem duties, tariffs on imports of steel at a 25% rate. Since that time, a large number of exclusions and exceptions to that tariff rule have been implemented. Because of the damage to the United States steel industry that those exceptions and exclusions have imposed, we're now, this order would reimpose that 25% ad valorem tariff rate on imports of steel, and it's presented for your signature now.
Okay. Do you understand what that means? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. This is the beginning of making America rich again. Mr. Secretary, do you have anything to say? As you know, Howard is Secretary of Commerce, doing a fantastic job. And what do you have to say about it?
So when you imposed the tariffs the first time,
Right.
You added 120,000 jobs. And since that time, it's been picked away and nicked away and excluded away, and we've lost 107,000 jobs. And remember, these aren't just general jobs. These are steel workers in America, and now you're going to bring them back. You're going to bring those 120,000 jobs back to America. You are the president who's standing up for the American steel worker, and I am just tremendously impressed and delighted to stand next to you.
Mr. President,
So let me just make a statement, and essentially this is another way of saying we're doing a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. So the failed American trade policies have led our once incredible United States steel and aluminum industries, once incredible, not now, but they're not bad. I saved them because of my first term, totally saved them. If I didn't do what I did, I put massive tariffs, not the highest level, but pretty massive tariffs. We took in a lot of money and we took in a lot of jobs, but we were being pummeled by both friend and foe alike. Our nation requires steel and aluminum to be made in America, not in foreign lands. We need to create, in order to protect our country's future, a resurgence of U.S. manufacturing and production, the likes of which has not been seen for many decades. It's time for our great industries to come back to America. I want them back to America. This is the first of many, and you know what I mean by that. We're going to be doing others on other subjects, topics. Protecting our steel and aluminum industries is a must, and today I'm simplifying our tariffs on steel and aluminum so that everyone can understand exactly what it means. It's 25% without exceptions or exemptions. And that's all countries, no matter where it comes from, all countries. If made in the United States, however, United States of America, there is no tariff, zero. So if it's made in the United States, there is no tariff. All you have to do is make it in the United States. We don't need it from another country. As an example, Canada If we make it in the United States, we don't need it to be made in Canada. We'll have the jobs. That's why Canada should be our 51st state. We'll bring back industries, and we'll bring back our jobs, and we'll make America industry great again. So essentially, we're putting on a 25% tariff without exception on all aluminum and all steel. And it's going to mean a lot of businesses are going to be opening in the United States. Now, we're going to be meeting over the next 4-week period, maybe on a weekly basis, and maybe we'll do a couple of them at different times and maybe together. But we'll be talking about other subjects like cars. We'll be talking about drugs and pharmaceuticals. We'll be discussing chips, and we're going to be doing some other things in addition to that, all which will bring in a lot of jobs into our country. Cars is going to be a very big one and a very important one, and America is going to be stronger than it ever was before. Okay? So are you finished with everything, I think?
We have aluminum still to sign.
Okay,
here,
let's
sir.
go.
So with respect to aluminum, similarly to steel, since 2018, a large number of exceptions and exemptions have been added into the law. This eliminates all of those and also increases the ad valorem tariff rate from 10 to 25%.
Mostly the last part is the most important, right? Would you say?
Totally.
So basically, this is aluminum, the same thing, no exceptions, no nothing. And it's going to bring our aluminum business back and may go higher. I mean, frankly, it may go higher. And we're going to also be talking about we're going to be talking about things over the next 3 weeks that I think will be amazing for our country, amazing for our jobs, and will bring us to a new level of prosperity. And I think, frankly, our allies and our enemies all over the world expected this. They really expected it for years. They really expected it sometime during the Biden administration, but they didn't do anything. As you know, I put tariffs on China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars with those tariffs, and Biden wasn't able to get them out. He tried to, but it was too much money. He couldn't do it. And we're going to be doing a very concise and, it's going to be good. And I don't think if done properly, and we're going to try and do that, we don't want it to hurt other countries, but they've been taking advantage of us for years and years and years. And they've charged us tariffs. Most of them have charged us, almost everyone, I would say, almost without exception.
Definitely.
They've charged us and we haven't charged them. And it's time to be reciprocal. So you'll be hearing that word a lot, reciprocal. If they charge us, we charge them. If they're at 25, we're at 25. If they're at 10, we're at 10. And if they're much higher than 25, that's what we are too. So that's having to do with everything. That's not just steel and aluminum. But we'll be discussing that over the next couple of weeks. But we will be looking at chips, and we will be looking at cars, and we're going to be looking at pharmaceuticals, and there'll be a couple of other things also in addition. That'll be
Mr. President, Mr. President, U.S. steel workers have said that they support this move. What would you say to American consumers who are worried that prices
that they do support this move?
U.S. steelmakers.
I love the steel makers. That's good.
Well, what do you say
of course,
to American
because they want to save their businesses. U.S. Steel will now be a very valuable company. Anybody that makes steel is going to be great. Anybody that works in big steel is going to be very happy.
What do you say to consumers who are worried about prices, sir?
Oh, I don't think you're going to. No, you're going to ultimately have a price reduction because they're going to make their steel here. There's not going to be any tariff. These foreign companies will move to the United States, will make their steel and aluminum in the United States. Ultimately, it'll be cheaper, but we'll also have jobs. Many, many more jobs.
Sir, what are you looking at in terms of tariffs on cars and chips?
Well, we're looking at numbers, and we'll be coming up with a number, but we make some of the finest cars in the world, and some companies prohibit us from selling those cars in their countries, but they sell us cars, they send cars to us, and we don't do that. We charge nothing or 2.5%, and they'll be charging 100%. They'll be charging much more than that if you look at some of them. So I think those days are over. But we'll be announcing on other things, such as cars. We got some other things we'll be doing. But the biggest thing is reciprocal. We want tariffs to be fair. If they charge us, we charge them.
Tomorrow, the reciprocal tariffs?
We'll be doing reciprocal over the next, I would say, 2 days, don't you think? 2 days, yeah, maybe.
Mr. President, the Australian Prime Minister has said that you are considering an exemption from Australia on steel. Is that correct? And why?
I just spoke to him, very fine man, and he has a surplus. I mean, we have a surplus with Australia, one of the few. And the reason is they buy a lot of airplanes. They are rather far away, and they need lots of airplanes. And we actually have a surplus. It's one of the only countries which we do. And I told him that that's something that we will give great consideration to.
And would you consider one for the UK as well?
Well, we have a huge deficit with the UK. Big difference.
You don't have a deficit with Argentina. Is that country also going to be?
We have a little deficit with Argentina. We almost with every country, but Australia, because of the airplanes, they buy a lot of airplanes. There's a little bit of a surplus.
Mr. President, if other countries retaliate,
I don't mind.
What is your plan for example, farmers? Last term,
Well, the farmers are going to be helped greatly. Yeah, the farmers are going to be helped greatly because they're not going to be dumping everything into our country. This will be a great bill for farmers. And in terms of retaliation, if they retaliate, it's, as I said, it's reciprocal. So if they raise it a little bit, then we raise it automatically. So I don't think it helps for them to retaliate. But also remember this, they can't really retaliate because we're the piggy bank. We're the piggy bank. But if we don't do this, we won't be the piggy bank for long. We won't be much of a country.
Mr. President, did you see that report, sir, that Hamas was going to stop releasing Israeli hostages, and what was your reaction?
I think it's terrible. Look, I looked at the hostages that came in, and they're emaciated. It looked like something out of the 1930s. It's an absolute disgrace. And I think they saw the way the world viewed it, and they're looking for a reason not to send more because they're all. You take a look at that. It looks like it was a concentration camp, which essentially it was. It looks like they came out of the Holocaust, and what a sad thing. One of them was a young man, good-looking guy, a little bit heavier than perhaps he could have been, and now he looks like he's not even recognizable. Not even recognizable.
Is the ceasefire deal at risk of falling apart?
Look, I can tell you that those people have been badly hurt, both mentally and physically. I'm talking about the young women that came out also previously. And I think one of the reasons they're doing this is because they're probably sending the best. What you see is probably the best because they want to send people that look at least healthy. And that's not healthy. These people have been badly hurt. They've been interviewed by our representatives. They've been interviewed by Israeli representatives, and they're really hurting. They are really hurting mentally and physically. And I think Hamas is looking at that and saying, well, it's not going to get much better than that because they probably send out their best as a representative, and they've got more to send out, and they probably feel that they can't do that because it's not going to make them look very good.
Is the ceasefire delay that, sir? Should the ceasefire then be off?
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that be because that's Israel's decision. But as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy what's happened, how people can be that mean to do. I mean, the one guy was laughing when a hostage he thought his family was alive. Found out the family was dead, and his captor, so to speak, started laughing because he thought it was so funny. You know, this is a different group of people. No, I would say Saturday at 12, we want them all back. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it. But from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
Mr. President, in an interview this weekend, you said that Palestinians would not be guaranteed the right to return to Gaza if the U.S. were to develop it. What did you mean by that? And under
We've spoken to a lot of Palestinians. They would love to leave Gaza if they could find a place to be. And I've spoken to various leaders of various countries in the not so distant area from where we're talking about, the Gaza Strip. And I think they were very positive about providing land. What we need is land. And if we could build a nice place for people to live safely, everybody in Gaza would do it. They've been persecuted, they've been spit on, they've been treated like trash, and they would love to get out of Gaza. But until now, they never had an alternative. Now they have an alternative. And as far as Hamas is concerned, you're seeing the real Hamas now with the hostages.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
on Gaza, you have the...
Who are you, from where?
The Wall Street Journal, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The Jordanian leader is coming in to see you.
Yeah.
Folks in Jordan have expressed opposition to taking in more Gazans, more Palestinians. How do you want to convince him to do otherwise?
I think he'll take. I do think he'll take, and I think other countries will take also. They have good hearts. I think they'll take.
But what about the Palestinians who just won't leave? Our team has spoken to many in Gaza.
They're all going to leave when they have a place that's a better alternative. When they have a nice place that's safe, they're all going to leave. It's a hellhole right now.
But how are you so sure? Would the U.S. force them to leave?
You're going to see that they're all going to want to leave.
Mr. President, when it comes to Saturday, there's an American hostage who's still being held by Hamas right now.
Look, who knows? Are they alive? Are they not alive? But I saw the condition. When I saw the condition of the last ones that came out, and the women too, everybody. The one woman had her hand blown off because she was trying to stop a bullet being fired at her, okay? What kind of a situation is that? You saw her. I just think it's time to either you release everybody. They're not going to be alive right now. Based on what I saw over the last 2 days, they're not going to be alive for long. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, it's going to be a different ballgame.
Mr. President, when you say all hell is going to break loose, are you speaking about retaliation from
You'll find out, and they'll find out too. Hamas will find out what I mean.
Mr. President,
they're going to find out what I mean. These are sick people, and they'll find out what I mean Saturday at 12 o'clock.
But no involvement from the U.S.
Palestinians from the West Bank, are they going to be relocated too? What's your position
right
on
now,
this?
no. Right now, they're there, and I assume they want to remain there. It's different. They're there. It's never been like what we're talking about with the Gaza Strip.
So they're going to continue there? You have
No plans there.
Mr. President, regarding the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren, have said that by freezing it, it's giving big banks and giant corporations the green light to scam families.
Pocahontas, the faker. That was set up to destroy people. She used that as her little personal agency to go around and destroy people. And she's a fake. Just like she said she was an Indian, and she wasn't an Indian. You have more Indian blood in you than she has. She went to college based on the fact that she was an Indian. She got jobs based on the fact that she was an Indian. She's a fake. That was set up to destroy some very good people, and it worked. I mean, it worked. A lot of great people. I'll tell you, before I ever heard the term, people would come up to me in the Midwest and areas that say, "Sir, I'm being destroyed by them." They use that to destroy people. She's a nasty woman. She's a really nasty woman, despite her phony beer commercial. We did the right thing. That was a very important thing to get rid of.
Can you confirm?
And it was also a waste. I mean, number one, it was a bad group of people running it, but it was also a waste. If you looked at when she really ran it, wow, that was a vicious group of people. They really destroyed a lot of people.
And you can confirm it's your goal is to have it totally eliminated, the
I would
agency?
say, yeah, because we're trying to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse.
What's next?
And didn't I hear that somebody made like $38 million or something running a little agency? What was her name? What was her name? And what did she do? And what was that all about? All the money that she made? Does anybody know? Okay. Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Good to see you. The latest CBS poll has your approval ratings at an all-time high, despite all these controversial subjects and executive orders that you're doing. I want to get your thoughts on that, how you've really connected to mainstream America.
Yeah, I have high approval ratings because I'm using common sense, whether it's getting men out of women's sports. I mean, have you seen what goes on with the boxers and with the weightlifters and with the swimmers and everything? It's so ridiculous. And I think it's a 90% issue. And, the amazing thing, the Democrats are still fighting for it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think we should go to Congress also, have that cemented and, make it indelible. But it's, to me, it's all common sense. Who wants an open border where prisons are dumped into our country, where prisoners are let into our country, many of whom are murderers, many of whom murdered far more than one person, and they're now roaming our country? Who wants that? I mean, it's terrible. Steve, I'd like you to say a couple of words about it.
Yes, well, as you know, Mr. President, since you issued your day one executive orders, border crossings are down approximately 95%. You talk to agents on the line, in their entire careers, they've never seen crossing days as low as what they're experiencing right now. The cartels, in fact, are enormously frustrated because they've never seen a clampdown like this before in American history. There are people who were working at Border Patrol back when it was at INS in the 80s and 90s. They've never seen a day like this. That's because you've mobilized the 10th Mounted Division, the Marines, the entire U.S. military. They're erecting physical miles of barrier, temporary and ultimately permanent, every single day. You have all of your border agents pushed to the front line. They're not doing the humanitarian processing, quote unquote, that Biden was doing. They're doing law enforcement and national security. They're interdicting weapons and drugs. They're interdicting violent, high threat criminals. And the U.S. military is repatriating illegal immigrants at a pace and a scale that has never occurred before in American history. And those who are committing human trafficking and child trafficking are being prosecuted for felony offenses, and they will be doing hard time in jail. There's never been a lockdown like what you have implemented through your orders and vision since you took the oath of office.
What's your thoughts on DOGE? Wednesday at 10 a.m. they're having the first subcommittee going to focus on the fraud in Medicare.
Yeah, before I discuss that, I just want to add to what Steve said. And we want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. They have to go through a process. And we have to know that they haven't killed 9 people, or they haven't killed, like in one case, five people. And they're out on the loose, and we're all looking for that particular individual. This was all led in by Biden and the group of stupid people. Bad people and stupid people. Some are bad, some are stupid, some are both. But I'll tell you what they've done to this country. But we're cleaning it up. And hard to believe I can say it. It'll be better than ever before. But we have a lot of bad people we have to get at. We're searching out for a lot of them. I think Tom Holman and Christie are doing an unbelievable job. Christie, no. They're doing an unbelievable job. They're taking out massive numbers of people. And you notice every country is accepting those people back. Remember, everyone said, oh, they'll never accept them. They're all taking them back. They have to. They're all taking them back. Every single country is taking them back. I don't know if they want them or not. I don't imagine they do, but they're taking them back.
Are you going to talk to Zelensky this
Mr.
week?
President, back on Gaza, you talked with Fox News about the billions of dollars we pay for Jordan and Egypt every year. Would you withhold aid to these countries if they don't agree to take in the Palestinians?
Yeah, maybe. Sure. Why not? You mean if they don't agree? If they don't agree, I would conceivably withhold aid. Yeah.
Are you going to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu about the Saturday deadline?
Sure. I mean, it's just my deadline, but
Yes,
they may change it. But I think it's. I've seen too many people come out. They look like Holocaust victims from many years ago. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't think this could happen in this world today. You know, we think we have a civilized world. It's not civil. These are These are bad people we're dealing with. So that would be my suggestion. And he can open it up or not open it up, but that would be my. Do you have anything to say about that? Your commerce, but you have a lot to say from the standpoint of your faith and your religion. Go ahead.
So it's amazing that 4 years of nothing, and then you come in and you immediately start to move the needle. You have hostages coming out. You send Steve Witkoff, who's done an amazing job for you. You're changing the Middle East. You're supporting your ally Israel, and I, for one, can't be more impressed with the outcomes that you have driven. And choosing this Saturday to save people's lives or just be done with it seems like just the right choice.
But I think it's time to come up with a date. What are we going to do? Keep every week 2 people, 3 people? No, I don't think you can do that anymore. These are very seriously endangered people. These are endangered people. I don't think they're going to last very long.
And Mr. President,
you know, the people that came out yesterday, they wouldn't last very long.
Were you ruling out any U.S. involvement in whatever happens after this deadline?
We'll see what happens. We'll just see what happens.
Will you talk with Zelensky this week, sir?
Yeah, probably.
By telephone, what's your message?
He wants to make a deal. Let's see. We'll see. We're dealing with him, and I think they both want to make a deal, but we'll have to see. It's got to be done.
What is Zelensky?
Would have never happened if I were president. This would never have happened. Millions of people are dead.
What will Zelensky have to give up, if anything?
We'll talk about that later. Because
your reaction to a judge today continuing a pause on the buyout program for federal workers?
Well, I don't know how you can lose a case like that. We're talking about people, everybody. I got elected on making government better, more efficient, and smaller. And that's what we're doing. And I think it was a very generous buyout, actually. Also, if people don't show up to work, we have a right to fire them. And they have an option. They can show up to work or not. If they don't want to show up to work, they'll let them work. Because then the next step is, have you worked before? Have you worked during this time that you're supposed to be working? You'll find many of those people, in my opinion, have had other jobs, even though they're collecting money from the federal government. Many have had, in my opinion, other jobs. And if they did, that's a big problem.
If the buyouts are blocked in court, will you instead pursue layoffs in federal departments?
I don't know how they can do. This is free will. This is a buyout where people, they were offered a good deal. Many people have taken that, as you know. But, many of those people, and we talk about reporting to work, right? I happen to be a believer that you have to go to work. I don't think you can work from a home. I don't know. It's like there's a whole big, you can work from home. Nobody's going to work from home. They're going to be going out, they're going to play tennis, they're going to play golf, they're going to do a lot of things. They're not working. It's a rare person that's going to work. You might work 10% of the time, maybe 20%. I don't think you're going to work a lot more than that. And I think they have an obligation to work. And they have an obligation not to have a second job when they're supposed to be working for the federal government. You're going to find that a lot of these people had second jobs instead of working they'll be collecting a federal government check and they'll be working 2 jobs. And that's big trouble for them.
You've said a lot about South Africa in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's hosting the G20 summit this year. Are you planning to attend this, or are you skipping it and telling your cabinet to not?
Well, we'll see what happens, but the South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people. There's tremendously bad things going on, including the confiscation of property, and worse, much worse than that. You know what I'm talking about. And we're not making any payment until we find out what's going on in South Africa. Yes,
What's next for General Kellogg going to Ukraine this week, sir, soon?
Yeah, it is. Keith Kellogg. General Kellogg is an excellent guy, and he's spending time doing various things. We have numerous people working on numerous different problems. When I left office, wasn't long ago, a little more than 4 years ago, we had no wars, we didn't have problems. Now we got the whole world is blowing up, but we'll put out the fires.
You've been talking to Vladimir Putin. Are you trying to set up a meeting with him?
Well, I can't tell you what I'm talking about, but we are talking as a group also. I think he'd like to make a deal, but it takes 2 to tango.
And so, you can't give us any more clarity on whether you personally have spoken to.
I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. It's not going to help you to know. but we would like to get a deal done if possible, only because, in my case, save lives. You know, we're much further away. Remember, we have an ocean separating. They don't. Europe should be paying what we're paying. And Europe has done it more in the form of a loan than with us. We just give it. You know, Biden gives it because he's not a smart individual, not a very smart individual. We have people over there today who are making a deal that as we give money, we get minerals and we get oil and we get all sorts of things, because why are we doing this? And all this money, we're in for maybe 350 billion and Europe's in for 100 billion. And Europe's in really as a form of a loan. In theory, they get that money back. In theory, they get interest on their money. It's a whole different ballgame. And Biden is the one that started doing this. Every time Zelensky came here, he walked away with $60 to $100 billion. I think he's one of the greatest salesmen who have ever lived, by the way.
Can you discuss your intentions with the Kennedy Center, which you're now board chair of?
So we took over the Kennedy Center. We didn't like what they were showing and various other things. And I had a lot of the board members already, as you know, and we have some that will be replaced. But we have, I guess, a whole new group of people going in. I have Rick Grinnell, who's got some experience in that world. He's very good. Going to be handling it on a temporary basis. I think he'll do a great job, but we're going to get some great professionals. I'm going to be chairman of it, and we're going to make sure that it's good and it's not going to be woke. There's no more woke in this country. This woke has cost us a fortune and cost us our reputation, but the reputation's coming back very, very rapidly. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. The penny is gone.
The penny's gone. Is the nickel next?
What about the dime?
What about anything? Good luck. The penny is gone. The penny cost this government a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, you've been watching something that happened just a little while ago. President Trump's news conference after signing an executive order imposing 25% tariffs to protect American steel and aluminum. A lot of news occurred in his Q&A with reporters, something you never saw with Joe Biden. Among that, that he is setting a noon Saturday deadline for Hamas to release all the remaining hostages or all hell will break loose. That's what the president said. Those are exact words. Very stern warning. No more mistreatment of these hostages. Get them home, or there's going to be a different dynamic come Saturday afternoon. That's something to keep an eye on. Also, breaking outside the White House just a few minutes ago, the Justice Department, the U.S. Justice Department, moved to drop the charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. A lot of people thought those charges were politically motivated. This Justice Department dropping what the Joe Biden Justice Department brought. Now, a little while ago, Amanda and I had the pleasure of talking to the brand new EPA administrator, one of the cabinet secretaries, Lee Zeldin. We're going to play that as we head out of the show today. He made a lot of news. Let's listen.
Lee Zeldin. Lee, great to see you. Thank you so much, Mr. Administrator, for being here.
You both.
Sir, you are going to have a hard job not only to protect the environment, but you also have to protect the economy and the American people's wallets in the process. I imagine you have already a plan cooked up to handle some of the staffing changes that need to take place at the EPA, some of the cards that maybe need to shuffle or just go away in general to reduce the size. Tell us about it.
That was my commitment to Congress when I was going through my confirmation hearing, was that if confirmed, on day one, I would immediately be wrapping my hands around the funding, which is into the billions of dollars. We owe it to the American taxpayer to be good stewards of our tax dollars. It is important for us to be showing up to work and working hard, being productive, and making the American people proud. The EPA's core mission is protecting human health and the environment. Our initiative of powering the Great American Comeback is focused first and foremost, pillar one, on making sure Americans have access to clean air, land, and water. But we also have to be cognizant of how the American public spoke this past November, that they have economic concerns with their lives, that regardless of agency and regardless of mission, there's a demand of the American people on the federal government to be working hard to tackle. So we want to unleash energy dominance however possible and bring back American auto jobs, to enact permitting reform, and so much more. So we have a lot on our agenda. We're working hard on so many fronts, making America the AI capital of the world. But in order to do all of this, we're going to have to make sure that we're operating lean and efficient. We're working hard. And I just want to add a shout out to those who we currently have on the ground with a disaster response. The end of last week, I was in LA where the wildfires have created what feels like an apocalyptic scenario where so many people lost homes and livelihoods. We have over 1,200 workers, part of the EPA mission to clean up hazardous materials there with a bold 30-day timeline for completion. And then after that, I went to Western North Carolina, where we've been working hard to help North Carolina residents and others in the region to be able to have access to water and to be able to remove hazardous materials that they have found there as well. We care about this mission and we want to do it exceptionally.
Yeah, and you did not forget about all those people that the administration and the media did forget about the last few months. So I want to turn to two things that you just mentioned because they're interconnected: permitting reform and the ability to defeat China in the race for AI. Could you give us a little update on where the discussions are for common sense permitting reform to speed up projects that will make this America safer, better, and smarter?
Sure. So as soon as I came in here at EPA, I started meeting with staff in the different offices we have here to see what they need and what opportunities exist to reduce timelines to be able to get permits done. And the fact is, opportunities abound all across this agency to do our part. And when you're able to reduce that timeline and you can reduce cost, you'll end up increasing investment from not just Americans, but also people outside of the country who want to come to America. There's a fear that if you come, you spend maybe billions of dollars with an uncertain future that your timeline might be granted or not years down the road. It's a deterrent that leads to that investment not being made in the first place. And let me say this about AI. For a lot of people, it's scary to see what AI technology is capable of. And a lot of people have as their first instinct saying, well, let's slow down. Let's not pursue this. But here's the thing. If America hits the pause button on pursuing AI, that's not going to stop nations like China from doing everything in their power to get ahead. So we have to lean into this. We have to win. We have to succeed in becoming the AI capital of the world. And if we're not, places like China will do it in a heartbeat if they can.
Sir, you mentioned California, so I want to use that as an example because there is no state out there who has a larger claim of caring about the environment than California, and yet we saw 3 weeks ago that the environmental policies imposed by that state just absolutely failed the people. President Trump was there, met with city leaders, the Mayor Karen Bass, the Governor Gavin Newsom, but it's going to be your job to work with them and try to figure out a happy medium, that sweet spot between protecting the environment and protecting the people of California. Is that going to be a contentious relationship, or do you think it's going to be free-flowing?
On this, there is absolutely no reason for it to be contentious. We want all levels of government to be able to work well together. We want to work with residents who want to get back in their home. They want to rebuild. They want their communities stronger than ever. So when President Trump came in, he said a 30-day he signed an executive order that within 30 days he wanted phase 1 removal of hazardous material to be done. That was a very ambitious, bold deadline. But what we did was we massively ramped up the amount of resources that we have on the ground to condense that timeline down to 30 days. And we have gone through thousands of homes. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we have over 1,200 people working on it. And here's the good thing about the way this process is working. You don't have to complete all of phase 1 in order to start phase 2. Phase 2 being the Army Corps work of doing debris removal, which is critical. Every time we finish at a property, Army Corps is on the ground. So you'll love this. Last Thursday, when I went to go visit California, it wasn't just me there as EPA administrator. And I didn't just bring the acting regional administrator for Region 9 out there. We also had the acting regional administrator for FEMA. We had Major General Kelly from the Army Corps of Engineers. It's a whole of government approach where we were all standing there on a street with concerned residents with questions that they wanted answered. And by the end of that back and forth, you could tell how relieved they were now that they have more certainty and understanding to be able to communicate directly with the government. We want to be transparent, we want to be present, and we want to get the job done fast and work with anyone to do it.
Yeah. showing it how government should work, not the way it has been working. It's really amazing. So I want to ask real quickly, when President Trump first came in, he removed us again from the Paris Climate Accords. Today, some of the folly of that agreement was laid bare. Only 5% of nations actually submitted their plan by the deadline. Apparently, they're not as serious as the promise was.
Well, this is an important fact that there were a lot of nations that weren't planning to and committing to step up the way that they should. We should, in America, take great pride in what we have been doing to be good stewards of our environment and tapping into American innovation and bringing emissions down. Unfortunately, that is not the case in so many other countries around the world. And where we have areas of this country that are in non-attainment, not because of what's happening in that community, but because of what's coming in from other countries, that is only highlighting the need that we need other nations to step up to do their part. I think that's going to be incredibly important to be able to really tackle these issues globally, not just here at home.
And that was your new EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin. So kind of him to join us for tonight. That's going to wrap it for us. News made all the time, especially with people like Lee Zeldin.
Yeah, a lot of headlines in there. And we'll have some of those stories on Just the News in the Morning.
Yep.
We'll have it covered.
And from President Trump's news conference as well.
Oh, my
all right,
goodness.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us tonight. Grant Stinchfield is going to hop in the seat and take the wheel for the next hour. And we will see you back here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern here on Real America's Voice. Check back on Just the News for new headlines.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. So the Democrats have their new set of talking points. See, they hate the idea of Doge and Elon Musk and cutting spending because the gravy train has now totally been exposed. This new word they have, 2 words really, constitutional crisis. That's what they claim this is. President Trump using his executive powers to literally cut spending where he can by simply directing his agencies that he oversees to review payments. Stop payments that don't make sense, and especially fraudulent payments. So this is what he's doing, well within the boundaries of the Constitution. Here's Chris Murphy, the radical from Connecticut.
Listen, I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes. The president wants to be able to decide how and where money is spent so that he can reward his political friends, he can punish his political enemies. That is the evisceration of democracy.
Explain to me something. Reward your friends and go after enemies. How is cutting spending? How is stopping spending on studies for transgender mice rewarding your political friends? See, Joe Biden did the exact opposite. You've got this crazy Green New Deal that they pushed through that's literally enriched the pockets of billionaires with solar companies and all the rest. Donald Trump is doing the exact opposite, yet constitutional crisis. I don't know why these Sunday morning talk shows have people like Murphy or Ilhan Omar on the program.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
Congress's role? Congress is the one that caused this problem. You know, Republicans have been in charge, especially over many of these agencies that we're seeing the out-of-control spending, and they didn't do anything. So quite frankly, I'm just as mad with them as I am with Democrats who are spending. This is the uniparty at work, and now they want to claim that somehow President Trump is doing the wrong thing when overwhelmingly the American people are on his side. So they'll bring out terms like constitutional crisis. Then they'll call for all kinds of crazy things. The lies are insane. They make no sense. Do you think it makes any sense to produce a penny that costs 2 cents to produce, but a penny's only worth a penny? No. So President Trump on his way to the Super Bowl says we're not producing the penny anymore. FEMA got exposed for spending $59 million to high-end luxury hotels in New York City. And this has Democrats outraged.
What we're seeing right now with the Trump administration over the last week is just very clearly an American retreat when it comes to the rest of the world. Handing this over, like China doesn't even need to fight for their influence around the world now because of our own effort. We're doing China's work for them.
Wait a second. I'm still so confused. How is cutting spending? How is exposing $59 million to high-end luxury hotels in New York City when we have American citizens who voted for Biden, by the way, in California, that don't have a place to live because of these wildfires and the mismanaged Democrats in California? We're not putting them up in hotels, certainly not high-end ones. Now, it's a debate on what government should be spending money on, but if I got to choose between American citizens and illegals, I'm going to go with the American citizens. Yet somehow that senator decides to say that this is helping China and retreating from the world. They're freaking out now about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This was an Elizabeth Warren pet project. She did everything she could do to funnel money to this organization that, you know what it did? It didn't help consumers. This is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's not what it does, by the way. They went after banks, and they were going to try to shut banks down, fine them, give them penalties for not lending money to illegal aliens. They target small business owners in blue cities if they complain about crime. There's a slush fund that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has that literally slush funds out millions of dollars to radical advocacy groups designed to bring America down, including some funded by George Soros. That is not what government is for. And right now, they have a surplus of $711 million. That's almost $1 billion with cash on hand. And Elizabeth Warren, she is steaming mad about the idea of shutting that agency down.
I want to level set with you. The last 3 weeks have been hard. Okay, they've been a nightmare. There have been way too many horrific, mostly illegal things to even keep track of. This is on purpose. Donald Trump and his team are doing all of this at once to try to distract us, to scare us, to confuse us. They are hoping we are just going to give up, curl into a little ball, and let them do whatever they want.
Well, I'll tell you what. The sheer speed and number of actions is designed to daze and confuse them and the media, so we get it through and they don't know what to cover. I agree with her on that, and it's a good tactic. So what is this Consumer Financial Protection Bureau really all about? Can it be shut down? I want to bring in now the director of the Heritage Foundation's Federal Budget Center, Richard Stern, is with us. Richard, it's so good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you as always.
All right, these have to be good days for you because you've been screaming and yelling about a lot of this stuff over the years. Now a lot of these cuts are coming to fruition. Tell me about CFPB. What is the deal with that agency?
Oh, it is one of the liberal alphabet soup agencies in D.C., and at some point I'd like to not even have to remember the acronym for it. So let me tell you exactly what it is. It was created in the Dodd-Frank banking regulation bill by Elizabeth Warren and the rest of the Democrats. And its purpose is to create yet another layer of bureaucracy and regulations mostly aimed at stopping people from getting access to money. You can't make this up, but this is what Democrats and what the left has been focused on doing. And so this organization has been an independent agency. Read that as outside of congressional review, outside of executive action. It has been an independent agency, rogue bureaucrats doing whatever they feel like doing to regulate the banking sector into oblivion.
All right. Congress put many of these, well, all of them really, into power. Does it take Congress to take them out of power? This is the big argument that's running around Washington now.
Well, to actually get rid of absolutely every trace of it in the law, yes, Congress would have to do something. But that being said, though, everything that Russ Vought has done now, perfectly legal, is absolutely within the legal authority of the president, which is to stop new rulemaking from being authorized, delaying financial obligations that are under presidential discretion, telling the workers there to stop work on certain projects. All of that is tried and true, perfectly legal for a president to do and for Russ Vogt to do with his power vested in him. And again, this is the left doing what they always do. They don't care about the law when they don't like it, and all of a sudden they're the biggest defender of the law when it's on the side of them and their corrupt donors and interests.
All right, the unions are big supporters of all these agencies because they take in all the money from the union dues from all these agencies. Nick Sorter is a great independent journalist. I follow him on Twitter and the other outlets. This is what he found at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It was interesting. The unions have set up shop there. Take a look at this.
Now, these unions are acting like they are working in the best interest of the employees, but what they're actually doing is they are trying to block their employees from being able to take that 8-month payout where they don't have to do any work for 8 months. They can go on leave, get full pay for 8 months. It's deferred resignation, which is great for employees that are looking for an off-ramp.
So, Richard, the union cares about this. If employees think it's in their best interest to take President Trump's buyout, why not let them?
Because unions don't believe in individual liberty. These unions in particular are left-wing organizations, and that is all they are. They promote left-wing interests. They try to bury their workers if they don't toe the line exactly. And this is what we have seen from federal worker unions for quite literally decades. They always do this. In fact, there's a huge problem where they already use official taxpayer paid time to do the work of the labor unions, often, as I had said, supporting left-wing NGOs and their political motivations. So that's all these unions are looking out for here, is they think they're going to lose their taxpayer funding for their left-wing protest work.
Yeah, and they are, if President Trump and Elon Musk get their way and all of us get our way. I appreciate you coming on, and it's great to see all of your work at the Heritage Foundation coming to fruition here, and I hope Elon and his crew leans on you, Richard Stern. Thank you.
Definitely a dream come true, and thank you as always.
I'm sure it is, and it is for us too, right? All of us watching. And here's what's crazy. The support for President Trump is out of control. Now, the numbers may not look huge, but in the big scheme of things, look at this. A recent poll has President Trump's approval rating at 53% to 47%. Now, that shows you that we're in a 50-50 style country, but it's as high as it's ever been. So things are moving in President Trump's direction. It's actually pretty big, that number of 53%. Then there's this number. This is how many people agree that Donald Trump is living up to his campaign promises. Doesn't mean they agree with the campaign promises, but 70% say he's doing what he promised. That means these are no surprises. This isn't a constitutional crisis. This is him doing exactly what he promised to do. Well, joining me now is the head pollster at Rasmussen Reports. Mark Mitchell is back with us. Mark, welcome.
Hey, good to be here. What a month. It's unbelievable.
What a month is right. What do you make of these numbers coming out really in favor of President Trump?
Yeah, well, I mean, let me just say, going back to the fall, I thought after that election I could take a breather, but this is, I mean, public opinion and polling is going to be critical over the next couple months, because what we're seeing is something that our country probably, who could have thought that it would happen like this? I mean, we thought we were in a fall of the Roman Empire kind of thing here, and it's all laid bare. This massive web of corruption designed on purpose to oppress Americans with gaslighting and milk them out of trillions of dollars of taxpayer funding. Whoever thought this would happen? Yeah. And so I really wonder, I mean, I can't even imagine that your average American could wrap their psyche around all of this. I think it's going to be a long time until the Overton window settles. But the numbers already are incredible. You said that 53% was low. Well, like, you know, we're at the brink of a civil war. That's as high as it gets. Donald Trump is currently the highest polled politician in any of our polling. And that's like incredibly, that's 10 points higher than Biden went out the door. Well, so this is really big stuff.
Let me give you another piece of the poll. This is Graphics 20 for the guys in the control room. This is why I think it's underreported, the approval. The approval for Trump's deportation program is at 59%. That would mean you would have to have Democrats that are on board with the 59% of deporting illegal aliens out of here, which then I think the 53% is probably underrepresented because people don't actually want to admit that they support what President Trump is doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of red team, blue team stuff going on for sure. But I mean, let me tell you, Donald Trump is the most vilified politician, like literally in recent world history. They threw everything at this guy. They even tried to throw him in jail. They tried to shoot him. They tried to impeach him twice. And guess what? His strong disapprovers are lower than they were right back in the beginning of 2017. So none of it worked, period, whatsoever. And then really, it is kind of an inescapable fact that the reason Donald Trump won is because his platform is more popular than he was. Basically, this isn't about Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris at all. In fact, her favorability numbers was like a lot higher than you would expect based on how bad of a candidate she was. Ultimately, what this comes down to is that our government became tyrannical. People woke up and noticed, and this was a referendum on essentially the overreach of Biden, which was the straw that broke the camel's back.
So I guess last question for you. Do you at Rasmussen see everyday Joes coming on board with what's really been happening in government and supporting President Trump? Or the American people at large, not the ones ultra engaged in this stuff, but the everyday Joes, are they seeing it? Are they getting the message? And are they coming on board with what President Trump is trying to do, in your opinion?
So yes and no. I would say that there is righteous fury in the people who are plugged in to Twitter right now, to the people who are connected politically. But on average, your American is really happy right now. Right direction of the country is higher than it's ever been, except for 1 week in the beginning of 2017. So that's really profound. Our polling just doesn't get higher. It's 46 right now. The highest it's ever been is 47. So people are kind of chilling out. But what's going to happen is this is going to break some eggs to make an omelet. There is going to be chaos. There are going to be people arrested. And so I don't know if everybody's ready for it yet. I joked about what Donald Trump should get out of the CBS lawsuit is maybe 60 minutes slot so he can run the Doge Apprentice and fire a new government agency once a week on national TV, because these people do need to have that. They do need to wrap their full heads around how big of the scope that this is, because it's bigger than I think anybody expected just a month ago. It is catastrophic.
Well, you know, as I start to research this, there were a lot of people crying about USAID. And I say crying, they were really sounding the alarm. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz was doing this. And so this was there. But Trump and Elon has certainly blown the whistle. I love the idea of a Doge Apprentice. Maybe Elon Musk could run it. President Trump's pretty busy, but it's a great idea. And your point is.
Well, they just need him to fire him at the end. They just need him for 5 minutes a week. You're fired, Department of Energy.
Everybody on is fired. Yeah. We know the outcome, but would watch it anyway. Mark Mitchell, thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, so what does the media do? The media has to run protection for these government agencies and tell you why it's bad that we're cutting spending and what's going to happen to all these poor government workers. So they run out to a government worker and interview them. But do you know who they pick? They pick a green-haired, nose-ring researcher, okay? And I want you to listen very closely to her as she explains what she's most concerned about. Listen to this.
Can lead to individuals having to leave graduate programs, having to leave positions before they are ready, not having positions to go to, and this can really derail our academic careers.
Oh no, their academic careers. What are they going to do if we cut this? Academic careers, and you know what? The university can pay them. You know, these universities have endowments that are hundreds of millions of dollars large. Why are they taking money from the federal government to fund this kind of stuff? So I said, okay, research is important. And if we're going to decide as a country that we're going to put some money into research and development, then okay. Let's research things that could really help the American people, okay? And I'm not talking about big pharma screwing the American people. I'm saying what could help the American people. So how about this woman? What is she researching? Maybe it's worthwhile.
My research here at Berkeley focuses on environmental surveillance for intestinal parasites in both India and in Benin. Part of my worry is that since I'm on this diversity supplement as a diverse individual, that my funding may be cut.
So, hold on. She's studying intestinal parasites in India? So, crap in India. This is what she's studying. This is not helping the American people. Now, it may help the Indian people, but it's not helping us. And that's their big defense of why we should keep all this. It's insanity. Which now brings us to a very important topic. The idea of cutting taxes. President Trump has said no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. He wants to get this thing passed. Now, many members of Congress, as well they should, say, hey, we want spending cuts as well. But they fail to realize that when you tax cuts, when you cut taxes, you can also spur economic growth and get more taxpayers into the system. They don't take any of that into account. So there's going to be a battle here. How do we play out this battle? Because in a perfect world, I'd like to still cut spending congressionally and cut taxes congressionally, but we may not be able to get all that done. So how is this going to play out? I want to bring in now our very good friend, Republican Congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, is back with us. Congressman, good to see you.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Absolutely. So where do you stand on this? I know a lot of people are hardlining. We're not going to do the tax cuts unless we get spending. You've got Elon out there cutting an awful lot of spending, more than Congress has, as far as I can remember. Yeah. How do you play this out?
Well, the way I figure it is, they're talking about cutting $2 trillion, which is, as my daughter would say, a ginormous amount. But you got to realize every 100 days we put another $1 trillion in. We've got to backstop this up with legislation to make this stuff permanent. And that's what my biggest fear is. We lose our guts. And all these guys that are walking around with rhino tattooed on their forehead, I'm like, where have they been the last 4 years? We've been fighting this crazy spending on both sides of the aisle. So I'm hoping that we, this new budget, everything that comes out, will have I just saw Jody Arrington, and he's been trying to pass a budget. First time we've done it in 30 years. But I hope with all this money that we save, we don't just give it to the war pimps at the Pentagon and say, spend as you will, because we got to spend ourselves out of this mess. That's not going to happen. We've got to cut the spending, and then we can't, and in the savings, we can't give it to another government department. Trump's already said, what are the next two things he's going after? Education and military, the Pentagon. It's going to make this other stuff look like kids play. I got a feeling.
I've been saying for a long time, I like the idea of building muscle in our military, of building the military might of the greatest force on earth, but I don't like paying, $600 for a golden hammer. And I'm sure that's happening all over the Pentagon.
Absolutely. It's not my dad's war. My dad was Marine, 1st Marine Division in the Pacific, Second World War. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and we 6 months later, we build up our aircraft carriers and our fleet, and we roll across the Pacific. Those wars are not going to fight like that anymore. We're currently, I've been told that we will allocate or build defense systems that are immediately mothballed. And why are we building them? Because they're in influential members of Congress's district. We've got to get past that. We've got to have a smarter, more refined, lean, mean military. And currently, right now, it's a bloated mess. At the end of the Second World War, I believe there was 8 4-star generals. Currently, now we have over 40. It's a bureaucracy, and it needs to change. And it's a woke bureaucracy. And if we get into a massive battle war situation, we'll get a lot of boys and girls killed because of that.
Yeah. This is what happens at every level of bureaucracy, all the way down to your city hall. It gets management heavy, and then nothing actually gets done. Real quick, before I go to this quick soundbite, my grandfather was a 1st Marine, Peleliu, Guadalcanal, and all that. I wonder if they served together. I should talk to you offline about that sometime, because fascinating. Those guys, boy, they went through some hell. Hopefully we never have to fight battles like that again. We had men starving to death. Anyway, Elon Musk, I don't know if I'm sure you saw this. He tweeted you out, or X'd you out, whatever you call it. Take a look at this, Congressman.
You have a Pentagon that has billions of dollars that they hide. We don't ask for any accounting of. They never pass an audit in the history of audits. I've often said the only way we're really going to get to the bottom of this is somebody's going to walk out of one of these labs with this information and puts it out on the internet before they commit suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head 5 times.
So was that a younger Burchett, or was that a good makeup job?
I live on a farm. I've been out on the tractor working. I had a good little sun going there. But yeah, that was maybe a year or so ago. That was a guy named Jeremy Corbell, I believe. That was his documentary actually on UFOs. We've been trying to get some disclosure on that, just like the Kennedy files. And in 100 years, we might see that stuff come out. But yeah, and that's what you're up against with these folks. People are actually afraid to do anything about it. You know, if your wife and or your girlfriend works for one of these defense corporations, your family members get their money. It's with the corruption. They're over U.S. aid. It's the same deal. These crooked politicians, it's just a revolving door. The money you steal it from hardworking Americans. You give it to these agencies, and they give it right back to the crooked politicians in Washington. And, you know, it's just the same thing over and over and over again, and we need to end it. Yeah, my dad was on Peleliu with Chesty Puller. He was my dad's colonel.
I got a signed Chesty Puller accommodation sitting in my office, so
Wow.
it's pretty cool stuff. God bless your father, and God bless you for putting up a great fight up there, Congressman. It's always great to see you, and I appreciate you coming on. Maybe Elon will call you. He should actually have you consult with him for a little bit, because I'm sure you can open up the doors for some of the stuff that he's looking at.
I would love that. Pray for our country.
Absolutely. Every day. Thank you, Congressman. All right, folks. Well, that's a story we're going to absolutely continue to follow. And God bless the Marines, right? And every one of our members of the military out there. All right, folks. What are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold is a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition your existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text America to the number 989898. Get your free info kit on gold and a copy of The Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, folks, only information. Text America to the number 989898. Do it today. All right, the climate-obsessed left is scheming to undermine Trump's agenda globally. We'll talk about this next.
Anybody who owns property should worry about home title theft. There's no other crime that is so easy, so quick, and so lucrative.
Your home, your equity, and your peace of mind can all be stolen in one fell swoop by home title thieves like Matthew Cox.
Nobody thinks that I can take their house. Nobody thinks that.
Believe it or not, a single-page document is all it takes to transfer proof of ownership out of your name.
People think there's a whole huge process, but the truth is, it's a one-page document.
But it still must get through one final barrier, the county clerk.
When someone comes in with a fraudulent deed, if it's notarized and all the spaces are filled in, we by statute have to accept it. We cannot give it back to them and say, we know this is fraudulent, we're not going to file it. That's against the law.
It's public records. It's a recording system. They don't make a phone call, they record it, that's all they do.
Bottom line is, yes, it happens, and we can't stop it from happening, and it only takes once for it to sting you, and it's a very sad thing to watch.
You've put your love into the house, and all of a sudden, it might not be yours. It's a devastating crime.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock will monitor your title nonstop, alerting you to suspicious activity.
If you can get a warning notice that this first step has happened, you can stop the rest.
This person from somewhere in New York stole our property. So I was surprised. I talked to my father about it. He advised me that he had taken out Home Title Lock about 8 months earlier. We logged into Home Title Lock. He had 5 alerts. Immediately we contacted them, and within about 2 weeks, the deed was put back in my parents' name.
If you give us a call right now and mention promotional code LOCKIT, we'll give you your first 30 days of protection absolutely free.
Home Title Lock lived up to every promise they made.
Go online or call now, 1-800-493-1175, and sign up today.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro. the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Lasercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Lasercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Lasercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
Welcome back, everyone. So President Trump continues to cut. So while the left says he does all kinds of favors for his friends, well, he didn't do Elon Musk any favors by cutting funding to these EV electric vehicle charging station program. Now, there were a lot of programs out there that the federal government was offering to build charging stations. They're going to give you grant money, and then they build them. And at one point, they didn't have very many built at all. This is Pete Buttigieg, a little flashback, Face the Nation, being asked about that.
The Federal Highway Administration says only 7 or 8 charging stations have been produced with a $7.5 billion investment that taxpayers made back in 2021. Why isn't that happening more quickly?
So the president's goal is to have 500,000 chargers up by the end of this decade. Now, in order to do a charger, it's more than just plunking a small device into the ground. There's utility work, and this is also really a new category of federal investment.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's no need for the government to be involved in this. The government isn't building gas stations out there. If you think there's a need, a private individual will then build a charging station. And there is a business model for that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it either. I have no problem with electric vehicles, just don't make me drive them. So President Trump says, no more federal money for that. That's a waste. Let private industry do that. Well, that doesn't really help Elon all that much. Elon doesn't care, though. He said he's not going to rely on government to build charging stations. He builds his own Tesla stations all over, and they're better, by the way, than any other station out there. Now we get to this next group. You know, we had the World Economic Forum. Now we have this group called the Munich Security Report. A bunch of globalists are going to get together and go hog wild over President Trump. This is a tweet from them. Quote, "How can climate action be shielded from political headwinds?" Well, they're talking, of course, about President Trump and his quest to cut funding to many of these climate initiatives. The report writes, and I quote, "This makes it increasingly difficult to adapt the existing order peacefully, avoid new arms races, prevent violent conflicts within and among states, allow for more inclusive economic growth, and jointly address shared threats like climate change." Because President Trump wants to cut funding to things that aren't putting America first? I don't think so. Well, joining me now is Climate Depot publisher Mark Morano. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you, Grant. Happy to be here.
Mark, this Munich security meeting, Munich security report meeting, what is is this another World Economic Forum style deal?
Yeah, these are the globalists there. They're all lamenting. They know the threat that Donald Trump poses to the global new world order, or whatever phrase you want to use, the Great Reset, etc. And they particularly know the threat that he poses to the climate agenda, which, if you look at it, is the actual linchpin to this globalist agenda. Because when you pull America out of the UN Paris Agreement, when you pull America out of the funding framework, and hopefully he'll submit the UN Paris Climate Pact as a treaty to the Senate and it'll be rejected, and then the next president can't get us back in. But when you pull us out of that, Argentina, Poland, Hungary, a lot of other European nations are looking at this with the downfall of Justin Trudeau and a possible, new leader opposed to the whole climate agenda as well in Canada. They are looking at the complete, utter collapse of this scam, which has been going on, and let's say it correctly, since 1992 with the Rio Earth Summit, got into by the U.S. by George H.W. Bush, a Republican president. But that's why the Munich people are worried. That's why the World Economic Forum is worried. That's why the United States is worried. That's why the World Health Organization, they're worried. Donald Trump terrifies them because he's a leader and he's going to have followers now around the world. Argentina pulled the whole delegation out of the UN climate summit in Baku after talking with Donald Trump. He's got power, and they know that.
Yeah. Well, we know the leader of Argentina is very similar to President Trump. He loves freedom, and he don't want to waste any money either. Now, am I right in making the assessment that this all started when they wanted to cut emissions of pollution? We had cement plants down here south of Dallas, which were probably causing asthma in kids. It wasn't very good what they were pumping into the air. They fixed that problem. The cement plants are still there, but they fixed the pollution coming out. So the air is clean now. It seems like the climate change goons want to mix pollution with climate activism and global warming. And I think we fixed the pollution problem.
Yes, we have. If you go back to the first Earth Day, 1970, that was actually, in addition to a lot of environmental extremists, there was a lot of middle America and people just upset at the quality of our lakes, rivers, the quality of the air in cities. And what ended up happening was you had in the last, what was Earth Day, 55 years ago, you had radical improvements in air quality, water quality, same time, huge population growth, same time, huge economic development, to now even the World Health Organization said America has among the cleanest environments in the world. We did it. This is a success story. We did it with technology, with innovation, with wealth creation, with growing population. We showed it could be done. So they've basically, even mainstream media reporters, we've largely solved the entire pollution problem in America. Now, there's problems like East Palestine or lead in drinking water in Detroit. There's and the toxic waste cleanup sites. But in general, we've solved it. But that's not good enough because now they want to label, and this is what Obama started, labeling carbon dioxide, what humans exhale from our mouth. We inhale oxygen, exhale. They want to label that a pollutant under the Clean Air Act. And that's where it gets insane and wacky and anti-human. They're coming after carbon dioxide. They've labeled it a pollutant and they want to regulate it, and they've turned it into the climate pollution is what Al Gore says. And that is a complete oxymoron. There's nothing pollutant about carbon dioxide. It's a trace essential gas in the atmosphere necessary for photosynthesis. And we're actually, geologically speaking, in one of the lowest periods in Earth's history of CO2. Even the Washington Post had a chart showing that we're in the coldest period temperature-wise and one of the lowest CO2 periods temperature-wise.
Yeah, except for that article. I don't see very many other people telling us those facts, except for, of course, you over at Climate Depot, Mark Morano. I appreciate you bringing some truth to this subject. As always, it's great having you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And check out his website, Climate Depot. It's great. Okay, it really is. There's a lot of research stuff. If you want to argue with liberals about this stuff, go visit his website. All right, folks, you heard of AMAC, the Association for Mature American Citizens. It was created to champion the needs of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom. People like you and me. With over 2 million members, their mission is simple: protect the interests of freedom-loving Americans, safeguard senior benefits, and advocate for common sense policies. Membership includes the award-winning AMAC magazine, exclusive discounts on travel, insurance, and everyday services. And in honor of President Trump's first 100 days in office, AMAC is offering a 5-year AMAC membership for 47% off. Normally $60. This is 5 years for just $32. Visit amac.us/grant. Do it today. Take advantage of this special offer. amac.us/grant. All right, if you were as confused as I was over this Super Bowl halftime show, I didn't think it was very good. I couldn't understand what the guy was saying. We're going to have, one of our interpreters, he's a young man, joining us next to help us out.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 35% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus seat cushion.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use, and their tiny in-ear design makes them nearly invisible. Plus, they are rechargeable, saving you hundreds of dollars on batteries. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are only $397. But wait, we are so confident you are going to love your Nanos, we are offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. You get a free portable charging case, free 24/7 lifetime telephone support, free shipping, and a 45-day money-back guarantee.
Call 800-226-2107. That's 800-226-2107.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'll just tell you, I'm almost 56 years old. I like to think I was well schooled, though, on ghetto-style rap. I'm an old-school guy. Back in mainstream media, I spent a lot of time in the hood covering crime. Hip is the best of them for a 56-year-old white guy. But I was lost on this halftime show. Lost. I didn't think it was very good. I think the NFL went ghetto. I didn't think they needed to really do that, bring in Morgan Wallen, but, whatever. So I figured I would bring in my producer out at my radio show in L.A., The Morning Answer on AM 870. He is Daniel West. He's also known as Dan the Phone Man, a.k.a. Dan the Black Man. Yep. Dan, welcome to the program.
Grant, it is wonderful to start my day hanging out with you and also end it hanging out with you. So this is awesome.
That's exactly right. We're up early in the morning. All right, Let me play. You sent me some clips. You said you'd help us out. Let's roll the first one.
When you're the fittest, the number one and number two. Topic was always hilarious to me. You carried them to me. I brought out the fast. The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
Okay, I'm not sure what he said up until the point of the revolution shall not be televised. What's he talking about, Dan?
So, in fairness, Fox did not do a great job on the mix, so it was not helping him as far as what he's saying. But what people have kind of latched onto at the beginning or at the end of that is the revolution will not be televised, the wrong guy. And people were saying, like, was that a veiled shot at President Trump? I think the overall kind of tone of his performance was there might be some political symbolism. There might be some kind of rap beef related things we might get into later. But overall, it kind of like went over people's heads to the point where the biggest complaint wasn't like, oh, he went too political or too woke. That was kind of boring. I didn't understand what was happening, which in some ways I'm not like a huge Kendrick fan per se, but over the past year or so as I've gotten interested in this beef, I've appreciated the brilliance of the performance kind of going over everyone's head so that everyone kind of stepped back and didn't take anything really political out of it.
All right. They had red, white, and blue. That was pretty good. There was really no raunchy stuff that went on. I didn't see any devil worshiping, which I've seen before. Right. That's all was nice. Positive. So you think he was taking a shot at President Trump in that revolution shall not be televised?
That's what people are kind of saying. I think the longtime Kendrick fans were expecting, like, hey, President Trump's there. He's going to do something wild. And he kind of played it coy to where we're not sure.
All right, let's play the next one. Samuel Jackson, I don't know why he got himself involved with this, but here we go.
All right.
Squabble up, squabble up. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
No. Too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up.
So he used the term ghetto too, so I can't be criticized for that. What's he talking about?
So what I think his purpose there was sort of satire and also breaking the fourth wall of everyone who wasn't quite sure why Kendrick was there, or also what the performance was all about. And so I think throughout the whole arc of having him there was sort of to be the audience who is saying, like, why is he here? What's the point of this? In kind of a satirical way to do his performance the way he did it, and also kind of like a wink and a nod of like, I get that some of you probably aren't going to get this.
Do you think Jay-Z was behind this? I think Jay-Z needs to be fired. He has not had some very good Super Bowl shows, in my opinion.
He's the one who's signing them. I think that this was a unique point for Kendrick to be here. I don't think in other years he would show up or by himself. I mean, he had SZA, I think it's how you pronounce it, showing up there as well with her. But for the most part, and DJ Mustard showed up at the end. But other than that, this was Kendrick-led. I don't think in other years this is like a Kendrick-led deal. But because of the year that he's had and the rap feud with Drake, I think this was an opportunity to be like, let's kind of put a stamp on everything that's happened in the last 9 months with him being there. But yeah, Jay-Z is behind a lot of these bookings with the NFL now. All
right. You mentioned SZA and DJ Mustard. I have no idea who these people are, but They Not Like Us. I do know this song because I have a 15-year-old son and I ride around the car and he plays this music. So he was not supposed to sing this song. I guess there's an infringement on this. Is that right?
Kind of. To make a very long story short, we had this rap beef, this feud between Drake and Kendrick. At some point, Drake made it personal enough that Kendrick decided to just drop the nuclear bomb, which was without any holding back, saying like, Drake, you and the children, there's something going on there, and that's what Not Like Us was. Okay. Yeah.
Let me play the clip of They Not Like Us. Everybody at home may recognize it, may not.
Say, Drake, I hate you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from them. They tell me Chubb's the only one to get your hand-me-downs. Party at the party playing with his nose now. Baka got a weird case, why I see around. Certified lover boy, certified. I'm on them tough. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
So, probably A minor is a note, right? But it may be A minor. Is that what he's saying? Real quick, Dan, in about 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. And that entire lyric is essentially him calling out the idea that he's been kind of known to have relations with younger people and also like some of his crew, the people he's naming there. So the whole bar there was based off that. And it was kind of like, will he do it or will he won't? And I think that was the whole point of him being there, was kind of that moment to dunk on Drake on an international stage.
And this guy, Kendrick, was a protege of Drake. So this is some real serious infighting going on here. They've turned on each other. But fascinating stuff. Dan the Phone Man, a.k.a. Dan the Black Man, real name Daniel West. I wouldn't have known any of this stuff if it wasn't for you. So thank you. And I will see you early in the morning.
All right, sounds good. I'll get some sleep now.
Absolutely, go for it. He's up real early because he starts pulling those clips early in the morning, 6 o'clock LA time, baby. All right, folks, getting older does not have to suck. We talk about staying healthy next.
Why is Navage trusted by millions?
Before Navage, I was not living my best life because I could not breathe. The huge difference is the fact that Navage pulls it out. It's very gentle in the sense of when that suction happens, it's literally grabbing that water and that mucus and it's bringing it out into this tank. It's worth every penny that you pay for it. This product changed my life.
And for stuffy little noses, pick out the new Navage Baby Aspirator, now at Walmart in the baby department.
Hello friends, Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name.
The crime of title theft. What is that?
What that means is that they're able to steal the title to your home. The thing about home title lock is that never has to happen. They notify you when there's any change to your title. Title fraud is real, it's scary, but now there's a way to protect yourself.
Give us a call or go to HometitleLock.com today.
Who wants to drag out a bulky vacuum? Introducing Horsepower Duck, a super compact vac with ultra-powerful suction. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even sawdust in the workshop. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places, so store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car vac. The HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again. Get the Horsepower Duck hand vac for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package, a $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube, the crevice nozzle, and the soft brush nozzle, but supplies are limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 ducks per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low price, so don't delay. Duck it up today.
Call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com. So call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com now.
Folks, you know about 800,000 people a year in America have strokes, all right? There is a way to prevent this. It's getting back in shape and taking back your life. This is what our friends over at Energized Health are all about. Check this out.
It's been an amazing journey. I had a lot of medical problems. When I was 20 years old, I was told that I had the inside of a 60-year-old woman, and so I dealt with a lot of physical problems, and I remember telling my husband, I think I'm going to die. I wasn't going to wake up because I was having many strokes and had already had a heart attack, already had a stroke, and I tried everything. I mean, literally, I have 23 programs in my filing cabinet that I've done, but it wasn't even about the weight anymore. It was about physically, I was like dying inside. I mean, I felt it, and I would have these mini strokes, and I would just zone out and be crying, and I didn't even know I was crying, couldn't hear my husband. He'd be in my face, and so he was freaking out, thinking I wasn't going to wake up one morning. And when we saw this, my husband came home and said, have you looked into that one program that we saw on, what was it, Wayne Root? So I think it was just a blessing. If you guys stick with it, it works. It absolutely works.
I'm telling you guys, this has been a blessing from God. We know it's a godsend. So we don't have to take no meds. High blood pressure gone. Whatever you're trying to reach for to get better in, it's there through this program.
This one works, and I'm joyful, and it changed my life, and there ain't nothing you can throw at me that I can't overcome.
All right, so EnergizedHealth.com, that's the website. The founder is with me now, my buddy John Jubilee. John, welcome to the program.
Hey, awesome, Grant. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So, huge problem. In fact, a buddy of mine who's almost 70 just had a heart attack the other day. This affects everybody. And you say Energized Health can help people prevent this, correct?
Well, and Grant, that's what I hope the listeners hear today is don't wait till you've had a stroke or a heart attack, to recover. It is 1,000 times better to prevent the stroke, prevent the heart attack. And it is so easily preventable, Grant. The root cause of a heart attack and a stroke is really just two simple things. It is either cellular dehydration. You're dehydrated at the cellular level, which will cause a heart attack or a stroke, or you have high blood pressure, and the root cause of your high blood pressure is also cellular dehydration. So just by having cellular hydration, you can prevent the stroke, prevent the high blood pressure, prevent the heart attack. 100% preventable by just following a simple, easy protocol.
So I'm so grateful to you. You know, I got to go through the Energized Health program. And so I had not outrageously high blood pressure, but I had high blood pressure. As you know, I'm screaming and yelling all day long here, right? So I go through the Energized Health program. My blood pressure comes down. I just had my blood work done. I get it done about every 6 months. And my cholesterol levels were down. I imagine cellular hydration, the Energized Health program helps in that too, because I was amazed.
Yeah, 1,000%, Grant. The only reason our body overproduces cholesterol is because our arteries are dehydrated, and cholesterol is sort of like silicone or Teflon, and it coats the arteries, so at least it keeps us alive, but it's overproducing. But when we get hydrated at the cellular level, the artery opens up, and no longer does the body overproduce the cholesterol, and it also gives that blood a healthy viscosity so it flows through with no high blood pressure and no risk of a stroke or a heart attack.
All right, and just using myself as an example. So all those benefits, plus visceral fat, which is that fat around the organs, all comes off. I give you the last word on this. EnergizedHealth.com is where I want people to go to literally take their life back. But all of these are benefits that you can experience with Energized Health. 20 seconds, John.
Well, listen, I encourage everybody. You know, what did our grandparents teach us? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Listen, 28 years we've been helping people reverse all these issues. Take a next step for yourself so you can be your best you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's great advice. Hey, you heard them mention my buddy Wayne Allen Root, too, by the way. They saw it on with Wayne Allen Root, and he used the program, and he got in great shape as well. So it works not just for talk show hosts, but anybody. And John Jubilee, we thank you for coming on, as always.
Thank you, Grant. Love you, brother.
Absolutely. Back at you. All right, folks, here's how you get in touch with them. EnergizedHealth.com. It's EnergizedHealth.com. Super easy. There's a masterclass there. Watch it. A lot of research there for you to go through. They got a money-back guarantee, which is absolutely fabulous as well, and a 91% success rate, 99.1% success rate. So check them out at EnergizedHealth.com. All right, it is officially the Gulf of America. That's Trump's proclamation while flying over it, but he goes after the media. Wait till you see this.
I'm an artist, and I'm in my studio. I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor, and I've got pain in my neck, and it's getting worse, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, and I've got much better range of motion. I'm able to carry these big canvases around. I'm just very, very grateful that I gave the product a try.
If pain is affecting your life, give Relief Factor a try. Call or go online. Get your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Did you know you could remodel your kitchen faster and for a lot less than at the big box stores? At Cabinets to Go, customize your dream kitchen with custom quality cabinets, countertops, and more. And enjoy a high quality, affordable kitchen makeover that is sure to wow. Visit one of our showrooms nationwide and get your dream kitchen today for as low as $149 a month at CabinetsToGo.com.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use, and